Making your practice dramatic and flary doesn't necessarily make it more effective. Just my opinion. You can make it graceful and sweet and fluid without making it flary and dramatic. Yeah, Tallulah.
So, how you taught my last training was like when you come into the lunge, knee and ankle is in line.
Yeah.
And you're not teaching like that. But how do I just want to understand why it's not important.
Knee and ankle is in line.
Yeah. So
Show me what you mean.
So you'd be like that.
Uh-huh.
As opposed to like that.
Uh-huh.
So I would just like to understand why it doesn't matter, so I can just share that.
Again, this is an opinion.
Yes.
But it's also based in biomechanics. You're strengthening your knee. First of all, your knee is more safe here, biomechanically, as opposed to there. This is a stronger position for that joint. There. Like this position here. This is hundreds of thousands of years we've been doing this. Only recently have we been like sit in a chair and do everything like that. Like this is more stable. The knees travel over the toes. And another thing is when you're in this position, you get a chance to really strengthen your ankle joint by doing that.
I love that feeling, but they always say not to. Yeah.
They. There's they. Those guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna blame everything on they, and we're gonna give all the credit to they also.
I read that the extension over the ankle too activates some muscle up here that is not activated too when it's 90 degrees.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like up into the hip flexor.
Definitely. This position, this lunge position, especially as we do it more and more and more and more, it starts to become like, it's such a strong position here. Like you're ready to go, right? You're ready to.
Yeah, because a runner's not starting at a sprinter's not starting at 90 degrees.
And they're freaking strong as heck.
Right.
And that, like getting yourself, and another thing is that your back leg, that is strong too. So when I go here and I step back, I'm like pressing through the air with that heel. And when I put it down, it's not like I'm just like, right? I'm literally going, inhaling. And when it touches down, I'm still stretching. That back glute is pulling. And I'm getting in this position much differently. It's a much different setup. That way from here, that back leg has been rooted the whole time. So my transition, I couldn't do that transition if that back leg wasn't rooted. If that back leg was just kind of back there, as soon as I take the weight out of this leg, I do that. And so we're this Surya Namaskar sequence is about the bringing all the energy into the central position. Bringing it in, bring it in, bring it in. Does that make sense?
It's a theme.
It's a theme.
Bring it in.
Bring it in. Bring it in so you can be effective at what you do. So that you can really be clear and straight towards the thing. Chaturanga, shoulders, and head also. So one of the things that you want to really pay attention to is that our heads just love to just do their thing. It's like, even if I'm like, keep your chin tucked, you're doing the down dog roll, and then you're like looking forward, and it's like you've heard it like 100 times and it still happens. It's just, yeah. Our heads, it's very symbolic of our ego, actually. The head likes to just do the thing where it cuts itself off from the body. And where that would show up is just like in this position where I'm stepping forward. So I'm in down dog, my chin's tucked. I'm stepping forward. Chin is tucked, chin is tucked, chin is tucked. I'm inhaling, and then the inhale forces my head to lift. That's it. As opposed to going, you get like that traffic jam in your occiput, and then you start to get tension headaches. Oh. Anyone ever had a tension headache?
Oh my God.
They're so shitty. So that occiput. Same thing when you're doing the lunge pulse.
And your gaze is up here.
It'll, yeah. Yep. On your guys' book, it talks about like how to weave in the inner mechanisms that we're talking about. You'll be able to take notes on that as you practice. Like, what do I do with my tongue? What do I do with my eyes? The purpose of having all these little internal devices is to continue to consolidate your energy. Because your ability to concentrate in a focused stream is going to improve and improve and improve, and you're going to need more toys to play with, basically. As more energy comes to you, you're going to need more things that capture your energy. Yes.
I have a timing question. So I am noticing for myself, because I've been so disconnected from my body's movements, that to do each of the steps consciously and in line, I need to move much slower.
Yeah.
But if I'm actually trying to go through the practice and do it with my breathing, like the one does not match the other. So would your recommendation be outside of sadhana, of just like continuing to do workshop and practice at home of those movements so it becomes more of a muscle memory?
Yes. Yeah. And when you feel that question that you're asking,
I answered
it intuitively feels true, right?
Yeah.
I used to spend, no joke, 20 minutes doing one. I would get here and I would breathe like 10 times, and I would just feel, and I would just explore, and then I would get here and be here for 20 breaths, hanging out, just trying to discover, like, what is this shape? Like, really, what is it? What is it? What is it trying to show me? How do I get into it and out of it in a way that feels strong? There is, when you're going through this practice with repetition, and especially by using the principle encompass your movement and your breath, over time with just sheer amount of volume of doing it and ensuring that principle is in place, your body and your brain and all the movements and your breath, everything slowly syncs up. That being said, also workshopping it in your own sadhana is an amazingly brilliant thing to do, because the next time you come to it, you'll have accumulated more time there. Yeah.
Do you have any tips on downward dog that you think in general people, like I noticed, like your heels aren't flat at
Yeah.
all, and like to me that's always like what you're told, like get your feet flat, and I gave up on that. I'm curious if you have any like special tips on what you should be feeling, you know, what to notice in
Yep.
the down dog.
Thank you. Yeah, let's workshop down dog real fast. So the first step, hands are wide. Dinner plates. That way you can draw up from the ground. There's a big difference between that and that. You can just see it. That, I'm not only am I pushing down, but I'm sucking up. Bones bear down, muscles draw in. Bones bear down, muscles draw in. Yeah.
It takes pressure off the wrist, doesn't it? Which
Yes.
anytime you've got like carpal tunnel.
Exactly. It takes pressure off the wrist. So that's your base. Moving back into dog. Honestly, practicing with your knees bent and getting your butt in the air. Like, look at the difference between this and that. Right? And then you can even wag, you know? And it's just like, oh, and getting that length in this area here while also maintaining the ribs. That's hard. You can get really, really strong just by doing this posture. Really strong. Feet shouldn't be super wide. They also, in my opinion, shouldn't be together, although sometimes teachers do teach it that way. I like to be about shoulder distance. You'll have to explore for you. Another thing is
drawing in with the inner thighs like you're riding a horse. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna act like an anchor on your sacrum to pull it back. So I'm hugging in. And that way when I breathe in, you guys see that? And now when I breathe out, watch what happens. Come get close and watch. I'm holding the breath out. I'm applying pelvic floor, mula bandha. I'm in an inhale now. Oh, that feels so good. You ever want to get that pop right behind your shoulder blades and you're just like, oh. Your breath will open that part of your spine. That's your question. Your breath will open that part of your spine. Could you guys could see that? Okay. Yeah.
So from down dog to lunge,
Yes.
it's getting better, and like the step forward on lunge, one side being like, yeah, no problem, the other side being,
Uh-huh. This is a good question. I do.
it's getting better.
I do have, that's a really good question. It does take a lot of practice to have the fluidity to carry your knee under you, to just slide it right in there. It takes practice to do that.
You do it great on my right side.
Yeah, you can. And so what I would explore doing is from dog, when you end up here, try to get the space here. Keep hugging and drawing space in there so that when you lift your thigh, that thigh, you want it as underneath you as possible.
That's through your exhale,
It's an inhale to step forward
but an exhale before
to
that,
create space.
to create space.
So like, for example, in the way where, who said pelvis abdomen during cobra?
I did.
Okay, so, will you guys all just lay on your belly for a moment? What's cobra? What's the name in Sanskrit? Bhujangasana. All right. And lengthen your legs away from you. Okay. So come up just a little bit so that we can all look at each other. Just a little bit. We're all like little army crawlers. I don't know. Bhujan. All right. So see if you can do this with your exhale. So breathe in with me. And with your exhale, exhale into your belly as best as you can, just from this position. Do you feel how that just changes the shape of your lower back? So now inhale into your chest. And do that same exhale into your belly, but make the transition to dog. Y'all feel that? Any, come down to your knees for a moment. So what you're trying to do, and this is a theme in like a lot of what we're doing, if you haven't noticed, is this is where your strength is. A lot of times we're using too much of our periphery to move our body when this is causing the body to, and so a way that we'll practice that actually when we get, when we can have a chance to do this is the transition from plank. Remember we were doing the cobra rolls the other day? The transition from plank to dog. So let me show you what not to do, but what is very common. Here, I'll go slower. I'm gonna make a sound out my mouth like I'm exhaling. Just observe. Just observe. I'm just kind of casually moving back. Now observe this. Where do you see the difference? And it's like, who wants to come up and just workshop this with me? Come. So just do it 3 times. I'm not going to tell you anything.
Okay.
Just do it 3
Down
times.
dog to plank.
Yes. So her work is, go ahead and do 2 more. Kaylee's work is right here. Can you guys see that? No, she just adjusted it.
I know it's because it's new.
And so watch, she wants to lift up there. Can you guys see what's happening? Go ahead and do 1 more. Okay. Can you do 1 more? Now keep your chin on your chest, Kaylee, until the very last moment. You guys see the difference? Just by keeping her chin on her chest, she was able, look at that. That's good. Nice job. You can rest. Good job. How'd it feel?
Good.
With
the
the chin-
last couple, yeah.
Yeah. You guys could see the difference? So getting this area to be like, imagine there's a ball and you're trying to get it to roll to your third eye. And from this area here, so that's why practicing with that karate sound is helpful at first, because you can really feel the pressure. And the first couple times doing this, or 100 times, or however many times you are exploring this, you'll continue to feel there's more available space for internal strength. That's the cool thing. Your outer body will be less important as the inner structure, which is happening from your breath. I think that's clear, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to demonstrate that again.
That's so. This the exhale before you are moving into the, because then you're inhaling as you go into the plank. Wait.
I'll demonstrate 1 more time. So this would be an inhale. The end of the inhale, I'm in this shape. This will be the exhale. And I'm getting worked here. I'm getting worked. I can feel my hip flexors. I can feel like inside my groins. I can feel my pelvic floor. Everything here is just hugging in and lifting me up.
So even just practicing downward dog plank, that's can help that.
Amazingly. You'll get so strong from just that vinyasa. Like really, really strong. And that transition, down dog plank, is this transition here. Right? Same movement. So sometimes when I'm breaking this down in a class, I'll have them do the rolling just to activate the muscles, or I'll have them go into plank and I'll have them hold plank and say exhale lower belly, really getting that activation, because you won't realistically have time to workshop all of this stuff in a yoga class. You'll plant seeds in your student's mind and get the cues to start to wake things up, and over time you'll notice that the progress is happening. Yeah, cool. One last thing about, so that was pelvis abdomen during Cobra, Chaturanga, and the shoulders. Last one. So definitely, please don't do this. Don't do the dive bomb that you see. That's what the cool kids do. Exactly. It's so sexy.
Really cool.
or the whatever the thing is. It's just like, okay, I will stay focused on my mat. What you want to do, and if this position lowering down, like, it's strong for me. It's freaking hard to do it right. I do a couple of those and I'm like, oh. Because what I'm trying to do as best as I can is draw my shoulders down, hug my elbows in, and lower with integrity. Which if you look, it's like really hard, right? So I get there And then I want to be able to transition into cobra without running out of breath. So sometimes, and I go through waves where I just go, all right, I'm just doing this. Because still lowering the knees and hugging the elbows in and doing it with integrity is still
Really
hard.
It feels harder to me.
It feels harder sometimes to me too. But the point is that you don't want your shoulders coming up. You don't want this position. Because I can't even really talk. I'm like, that position. And that position is, guess what? Your archer warrior. Drop your knees and hug the elbows back. Instead of going straight down, hug the elbows back, and it's almost like you're moving your pubic bone forward.
So come down like pubic bone first.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
One more time, I know.
Okay, no, that's okay. So I'm here. I mean, let me see here. I would take, let's say you're in this position, knees drop, and then you can figure out, all right, do I kind of come forward?
Yeah, it's a very tricky
This one is tricky.
with the placement. I'm having it.
This one's
That's why I
tricky.
think it's easier to do for me.
Yeah.
Just through.
Honestly, I would adjust.
Okay.
I would adjust.
Also, it's better than my shoulder.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that dramatic in the tailbone either, does it?
No, I'm exaggerating.
Yeah.
I think this might be the same issue, but when we were first workshopping this, I had to stop way up higher than I was used to being in order to keep my shoulders over my wrists.
Right,
So then I was forced to do the knees first because there's no way I could lower somebody.
right.
And so I don't know if that's
Same.
a problem.
Yeah.
Transitional thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's okay. The cool thing about modifications is when we're doing the modification well, it strengthens what needs to be strengthened to move in the direction of where we want to go. Instead of trying to do the thing that's difficult or impossible to do with integrity, we just take a step back and we figure out how to work that and do that for a period of time, and then your body just starts to open up and the next thing is available. So that would be my suggestion.
So Satya, truthfulness.
What's it? Satya. Yeah, Satya.
Every day,
Yeah.
do something you do, and then do something new.
There you go. We're almost through all of the questions. So I just want to do the pigeon real fast, and then I'm going to free you guys up to
She wanted the feet on.
feet are resistant. I have 2 more questions. Okay. Here you go. Here's my butt again.
Got a big butt, Grant.
I used to squat all the time. Okay. So, there's a difference between lifting the thighs, right? Because that's causing my lower back to do that. And exhaling and pushing with the exhale. So my suggestion, if the feet are cramping, is send your exhale like a wave down through your legs and into your feet. And if it's cramping, cramp away, sis. Let it cramp. Cramp harder. Cramp as hard as you can, because it's like you're blowing on a hose, and it's like stuck. And eventually the cramp will just like, it'll do like that, and you'll have to like massage it, but it's opening the nadi, the pipe that's going down there, from here.
Okay, so it starts from where everything we do starts from.
Yes.
And then were all of your lower extremity muscles contracting, including the glutes?
I wouldn't say they're contracting. What is happening is there's a firming like of the muscle on the bone, but I'm not like squeezing everything tight.
Oh, it's like a nice little hug.
It's like I'm hugging. Remember, bones bear down, muscles hug bone.
So you're hugging all the bones that you can with all the lower extremity muscles.
Yes, but with the exhalation. And that's super important because your diaphragm, when you're exhaling, is coming up. And guess what's coming up with it? All of the fascia that is traveling down here. So all the fascia that would be loose on the inhale, when I exhale, it's coming like this. If you could picture like pulling a spider web. So that's because my diaphragm, which connects to all this fascia down here, is hugging everything in. So as long as I'm just actively sending my energy down, you can see it, right? Versus the breath isn't getting down as far because I'm not creating an anchor for it.
What's the benefit of pulling the fascia in?
The benefit of pulling the fascia in, like, ask.
What you said you're doing with the exhale, you're pulling it all up.
Yes.
So what's the benefit?
Stability. Yeah.
And so, do you know any way to help the foot-toe situation in Cobra other than, like, in the Cobra? Because anywhere else, like, my feet are usually really active and strong, and that's, like, one of my main focus points. And so, there's nowhere else currently that I've encountered that as a problem.
How does this feel?
That hurts.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Thank you.
If this posture is not comfortable sitting for 2 minutes without moving, try to accumulate 2 minutes a day.
Okay.
It's a small amount of time and it will work wonders on your legs, your hips, your lower extremities. Just go like, do your 2 minutes. It's like your penance, It's like, fuck, all right, 2 minutes, here we go.
Offer yourself to the practice.
Offer yourself to the practice.
All right.
Yeah.
From the first day until this day, I've been practicing that, and it's helping me a lot.
Amazing.
I feel a lot of softness because my feet cramp a lot.
Amazing.
I'm used to that.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess those two things.
And if this is painful, like sharp painful, what you do is you bring your fingertips here, you adjust, you get your ankles together, you get your inner thighs together, and you just work the hips back up. There's my edge. All right, there's 2 minutes. Let me go.
Okay.
And then it's like slowly, slowly, slowly. Okay, I can go a little more. Okay, I can go a little more. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm done.
So you're just working on the distribution of the weight over time to help strengthen.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Try not to be a passive stretcher. It'll save you years of injury down the road. Yeah.
I just had a quick question since we're talking about pain. I've been hoping that I just continue to practice, and especially drawing in will help, and hopefully that's the answer, but that side joint pain is pretty bad for me, especially on the right, probably from sitting all the time. But is what we're doing eventually going to help that go away, or is there something else I could try to speed that along?
My intuition on that is to have like just a couple minutes a day of like really focused core work, and not like six like crunches and stuff, but like things like this, right? Or the dead bugs that we did, with making sure that you're not doing that. Because what that's going to do is it's going to strengthen this entire girdle here. And the SI joint just needs to be stabilized and fluid at the same time, which this is doing. It used to be impossible for me to do that. And I had the worst. I used to get cramps in my lower back from jogging. And I would have to stop and like a block from my house. And I was like I was like 22 years old. It was just like, yeah.
You would do that after sitting on the star.
The dead bugs?
Yeah, like.
I would probably do it before, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you're needing it.
So that would be considered a warm up?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Also for Michelle on this one,
Yes.
there is like one that I've been doing since my hysterectomy that's been really helpful, like with that lower. And it's like cat cow, but without the shoulders. And so you're just breathing and allowing like the tilt of the hips and the exhale
Yes,
to
yes.
curl that back down.
Yes.
And it's really hard to do.
Yes.
And so it's just like micro movements.
Yes.
And it really strengthens that area right there in a really beautiful way.
Yes, thank you. That brings me to another point. Thank you for that. That's awesome. This one is one of my favorites. If it's done well, and there's always the difference of if it's done well or not. So when I'm inhaling, I'm lengthening and then lifting. Let me show you what I would call a sloppier repetition versus one that feels an integrity for my body. Watch the spine. And as I exhale, what I'm doing is I'm pressing this hand down and pressing and that foot down, and that's gonna get that Kaylee was just doing, right? And that way I'm more in integrity with my front and back body. So when I take my inhale, it's almost like I'm not moving at all, but internally there's a lot happening. And I feel really strong and safe. And like my whole spine is getting, especially the pelvis. Yeah, that would be a good one too. That one that I just did. That one and what Kaylee said. Yeah. Pigeon, last one. Modifications. So, people love this one because they just are like, right? And look at my hips. What happens if I'm like, this is good for me. Like, I don't need to go further down. I could go like that.
And that's okay.
That's okay. The reason I suggest the fingertips is because it forces more of this to happen. Because then you would be able, I mean, that's too hard. I can't even do that with good integrity in my system. So I'm practicing with fingertips. You could practice with hands. Just don't put all your weight in your hands and take all of it out of this. Because that's the work right there.
The right foot does not need to be straight across.
No. No. I mean, you could get it there. But like, I wouldn't do that.
And your knee on the front foot comes out wider than the hip.
This knee,
Yes. Yeah?
it can.
That looks like you're about to break.
Oh, it feels good. Yeah. But the toe on that foot, strong, ankle, strong. And look at my belly. I'm not going, I'm not flexing my abs. I'm doing the same dang thing that I've been talking about this whole time. Because that's going to protect and anchor those muscles.
You showed us a trick yesterday, getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't remember what it was. If it was, you said that getting into the pigeon,
Uh-huh.
you had us kind of like, I don't know if it was just a mat getting up first before we.
Oh, yes. I had you do the pigeon pulse. So you're inhaling up and then you're coming down as you exhale. And you're inhaling up. Notice the chin. Right. And as much as possible, I'm trying to move my spine in its integrity. Moving the spine in its integrity from here. This is where we initiate the movements. Yeah. You're welcome. Exactly. I think I got oh, plow. Last one. Okay. Plow, if you're using momentum and you need to go totally cool, don't do any of this. So don't when you come back, don't look. Just go vertically back and pay close attention to where is the weight on your vertebrae. If you have one of those jutting vertebral things that happen to many of us, I think I used to have one, it's since gone away, then you can be here, and what you're going to want to do is getting the shoulders on your back like that. That way your feet don't have to touch. They don't have to. You can even just be like in this position or in this position, which is cool, or you can go straight legs. Just be aware of how much pressure is in, and this is for you too, is in this area. Yeah, because we're moving towards what's called Viparita Karani, which is that one. And the reason this one's so important is because it's an inversion, and when we get it right, you can inhale and exhale without any stress. Basically, I can breathe really deeply into my chest. I can breathe really deeply into my belly. And I can just really, and then over time my senses turn inward, and my eyes will close, and it becomes super enjoyable because we're working towards shoulder stand. It's actually a stand on the shoulders. Probably not accessible to most people, so don't teach it. I don't teach it.
Did you ever roll up a blanket and put
Yes.
across like that? Okay.
Yeah. You could have a blanket across your upper back, and that will give you space here, so your head could kind of come down, because a lot of us have this curve in the cervical spine. This would probably be helpful for you, Jen.
Or roll up your mat.
Or roll up your mat. Yeah.
I have a womanly question on this one.
Uh-huh.
I know a lot of women have things with creeping in this posture,
Mm-hmm.
and I figured it out for myself, but I haven't quite figured it out how to cue or speak to that.
They have what?
Queefing
Queefing?
in half shoulder stand and any kind of inversion. And I don't know if that's just
We don't know what queefing is.
it's where you get air in your vagina.
Is it air that's coming in
Coming in.
during the process?
During the process of being upside down. And I don't know if that's just pelvic
Oh,
floor work.
right. I would say it's pelvic floor work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know, I've had women who are completely avoidant of doing inversions in class because of that.
Oh. That's actually a good observation, I think, because it's like a good diagnostic. If you queef in here, I don't care.
Probably is.
Have your experiment.
Floor strength because
Discover.
It never happened to me before childbirth.
Aha.
After.
Okay. Good to know.
And your legs, I was trying to get my legs straight up,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just having I was just like, my wrists hurt, my shoulders hurt. So you actually had your legs. So you could be in the plow, and then bringing them to this
Yeah.
is enough.
Yeah.
But even in the plow, so anywhere in this area, but you're not trying to get straight up at this point.
So getting it straight up, actually straight up, is a lot of work and strength in the body.
I feel much better now because I was really
What you can do is you can work towards straight, and then you can kind of get that shelf with your hands and be like, yeah, that is good.
Do you feel that in your wrists at all?
No, but I used to.
Okay.
So the way you avoid that is look at the angle that my elbows are in. So a lot of times when we get, and this used to be me because my shoulders were more muscular at one point. My elbows were like this. Until I could get more of a parallel. You see the difference?
Big difference.
Are you keeping a strong core in that?
No, I'm letting my belly relax. Yeah.
So it's more of you're really holding it from here.
Yeah.
Ah,
Mhm. Yeah.
Are you using your core to get yourself back, or are you also using momentum to get your legs up and over?
I'm using my core. Yeah. This motion here is a really good one if you want to strengthen that area that we've been talking about without using momentum, like even just this one right here. Oh. Oh. Oh.
keep doing it. We feel so much stronger.
I feel stronger watching you.
Yeah.
Good.
And I
And
picture myself, I picture you.
If you guys want, like when I'm presenting the opportunity to invert, you could take 3 or 4 repetitions like that and just go exhale, and just really start to build that strength. Because the thing about inversions this is another reason I don't teach them, because first of all, there's a lot of ego in inverting. There's a lot of ego in it. So especially headstand. Headstand's like everyone wants to do a headstand. But doing a headstand like this where you go is not going to save your neck. You want to develop the strength to where, and then I can breathe for 10 seconds or 12 seconds. I can take a nice long slow inhale, because guess what's happening? My whole body is extended up so much that you could slip a piece of paper under my head. And my inner thighs, from my pelvic floor to my toes, you could come and touch my toes and see that the bottoms of my feet are really firm here. So that I can breathe deeply. And guess what happens as I'm able to breathe deeply in an inversion? The bottom lobes of your lungs, there's no pressure on it from the downward movement. So you can get all of this juicy breath into those areas, but only if you have strength to extend upward. If you don't have strength to extend upward, you're better off doing. Yep, because as soon as we get upward, there's this pressure here. And you want to be able to be like, yeah. It is a great pose, but be super progressive with yourself about how you approach it if you're going to do it. Pay close attention to how it's making you feel. Pay close attention to how it's making your neck feel. Pay close attention to what's happening here. They say that the shoulder stand, like the full shoulder stand like I demonstrated where I'm like that, but balancing on my shoulders, and the headstand, those are some of the best postures to train the kumbhaka. Because when you get to the end of the exhale and you hold the breath out and you're upside down, there's this strong effect of all those muscles pulling. Do you guys need me to demonstrate, or can you picture the idea? You can picture it, right? So you get to the end of, let's say I'm in headstand, and I get to the end of the exhale, and I'm hugging in with my lower abdomen as the end of the exhale. Remember what happens, the diaphragm's lifted, all of the fascia gets hugged in because I'm anchoring my feet up. And now when I inhale, all that breath stretches my thoracic spine. Oh, it's a great one for posture, if you can do it right. If you can't, it's gonna hurt your neck. Clear? Clean? All the questions answered, technically?
So if somebody did want to approach that the right way, you just recommend this instead?
The shoulder stand?
Yeah.
Or the headstand? Either one or both? If someone...
If someone wants to approach that,
Uh-huh.
how would you recommend them getting there in a safe way?
It's happened to me numerous times in my journey as a teacher, and almost every time they don't listen to me. So this is what I do. This is what I've learned to do. I present to them the choices. I see that you're doing this. I see that you want to do a headstand. My recommendation is to practice these things to strengthen your headstand and see if there's a difference. That way they start to realize, oh, there's more to it than just getting into it. Because it's like to put the goal out there is to miss the point entirely. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, my goal is to do headstand.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. These other things are going to probably help you.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're going to do it regardless.
It's about the journey.
Yeah.
The destination.
Yeah. I will try to dissuade them. I have tried. I'd be like, you know what? Honestly, like, you could probably get a good result doing this. Yeah, but how do I do headstand? Try this. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Hopefully we're protecting people. You know, hopefully we're protecting people and we're at least trying to give them the insight and the option about it, because then they can make the informed choice. As long as we, you know, as teachers, we also want to protect ourselves from their karma. Right? We want to protect them in our space. So if it's straight up dangerous in your class, just be like, don't practice that here. Don't practice that here. Like, I don't teach that. If you want, we can do a private lesson and then workshop the whole thing and show them how they're breathing for 2 seconds and then it's shaky on the exhale, and show them and then be like, do you really want to practice that? You can. And you're just giving them options at that point.